Dodgers send 6 hitters up to Seattle. Batting tips and lattes for everyone involved. Russell Westbrook might play for the Clippers as soon as Friday, and the USFL actually held a draft, which is bad news in a sense for UCLA. Good morning. I'm James. This is your daily dose of sports and snark for the greatest sports city in the world, Los Angeles. This is the faithful Angelenos morning report. So it is February 22nd, 2023. It is a lovely morning up here in Portland, Oregon, over at Ice Station Delta. It is going to be snowing at any moment, but what the hell? Let's talk LA sports before I start slip sliding down the road. If you like the content we bring up here on LA Sports, please click the like button. Please click the subscribe button. There's a notifications bell. Hit that. It'll let you know when we drop new content. Sharing is caring. Let people know we exist. And by all means, comment. That's how I keep myself alert when I'm on the road. Now, before we get going with the news and notes, a quick look at the scoreboard yesterday. What are you going to do? Minnesota 2, Kings 1. Anze Kopitar, the Kings offense next to nothing. Kopitar scored the goal. That's the beginning of what should be a pretty crushing 5-game East Coast swing for the Kings. Meanwhile today, nothing. No reason to hit the DVR unless you're like me and you like pro wrestling. What the hell? Go out and enjoy your life. So let's get to the news. 6 Dodgers went to Seattle to improve their hitting, according to the LA Times. You would think if this program up in Seattle is so great, the Mariners would be involved, but not necessarily so. It's apparently a group called Driveline Baseball. So be it. The camp made its name originally with a program that enhanced pitchers. Those weird stats that nobody really knows what to make of, like spin rate, things like that. Now they've created a hitting program. Max Muncy went, as did Mookie Betts, Chris Taylor, Gavin Lux. According to Muncy, he told the LA Times the idea with the whole thing is to how to increase bat speed. Now for Muncy, considering last year his hitting was pretty bad because he was recovering from an elbow injury. He had to basically relocate his swing in the first place. Any little bit, I imagine, would help. Quote, with everyone throwing 100 miles an hour, we've got to catch up, unquote. That's what he told the Times. Also, a strange development. You might know that the Dodgers signed David Peralta, who played last year for the Diamondbacks. We knew that. Here's something we didn't know. He had back surgery. That might be something that would negatively impact your swing, wouldn't you say? Now, to be clear, the surgery wasn't like major. It wasn't like it was for a fusion or anything like that. It was for a herniated disc. Dave Roberts doesn't necessarily envision Peralta being too big of a role with the Dodgers. Platoon starter. So it's not like if his back is jacked up, it's going to completely mess up the Dodgers offense through the course of the year. We'll have to find out. The Associated Press is reporting that Russell Westbrook could make his Clippers debut in a game against Sacramento as soon as Friday, once he clears waivers. Now, by the way, Westbrook only played about 28 minutes a game for the Lakers. He still averaged 15.9 points. To make room for Westbrook, or his anticipated arrival, the Clippers have waived Nate Darling. He was brought up from the Clippers G League team out in Ontario. Darling didn't even get into a game for the Clippers. So there's that. The USFL had a draft, which really shouldn't be called a draft as much as it is called the USFL's kick to the nuts of every available NFL prospect. Would you look, why would you want to be drafted in a spring football league? If you get drafted by a spring football league, basically there's an implication there. And the implication is, we don't think you're making an NFL roster, so you may as well come here. You're just not good enough for the big group, so you may as well play for the New Orleans Breakers, the Pittsburgh Maulers, The USFL, when they decided to relaunch, they're so unpopular, they didn't even decide to say, we're going to have a Los Angeles whatever, the Los Angeles Express. And by the way, the USFL, I hate to say this, but I saw some of the opening of the XFL, and I got to tell you, not that either one of it was great football, but I'm going to have to admit the XFL was a little less craptacular than the USFL. So if you get drafted by the USFL, I'm sorry. And I do want to extend my apologies and my condolences to UCLA tight end Michael Ezike and UCLA wide receiver Jake Bobo, who were both taken in the USFL draft. Apparently, they believe you don't really have much of a chance to get to the NFL. Now, if you do get selected by the NFL, the USFL, in their good graces, will let them go. But Bobo got taken in the 7th round of the USFL draft. Translation, they think Jake Bobo needs to buy a ticket on Priceline for a plane flight to Alabama. That's where they think he's going. By the way, nobody from USC was drafted, so there's that as well. How would you like to be taken in the 7th round or later of the USFL draft? You're not even Mr. Irrelevant. You are Mr. Irrelevant. You are the most irrelevant of irrelevant in the history of irrelevancy if you get taken in the later rounds of the USL draft. Brock Purdy is like, ha 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 ha, you're... USFL, a league of irrelevance. CBSSports.com projected who might get the franchise tag among NFL teams. You've heard of the franchise tag. The franchise tag goes to an unrestricted free agent. You get a set contract for a year. It's averaged amongst the elite players of that particular position. So it basically takes a headache of contract negotiations for one player off your to-do list. So they forecast who would be the targeted players for franchise tags among the 32 NFL teams. They didn't think a single Rams unrestricted free agent was worth the tag. And by the way, the same for the Chargers. The Rams have hired Chase Blackburn, previously a special teams coach with Tennessee and Carolina, as their special teams coordinator. Kind of a mixed bag, I gotta tell you. I mean, if you're the type of person that likes the story of gritty underdogs who make a career of themselves against all odds, you want to root for people like Chase Blackburn. He was undrafted, made a career for himself as a player for 10 years and as a coach for 7. While he was a player, he won 2 Super Bowls with the New York Giants. But hey, mixed bag, because his special teams units, whether they were in Tennessee, Carolina, they never averaged better than 16th or ranked better than 16th in the NFL. So I don't know how much of an improvement it is. Also, Rams defensive back coach Chris Shula has interviewed with Philly for the vacant Eagles defensive coordinator position. Their defensive coordinator left to become the Cardinals head coach. Shula has coached with the Rams for 6 years. The Athletic estimates that the LA Kings will have $3.5 million in cap space at the NHL trade deadline in early March. Now that's not bad, so theoretically the Kings do have space to make trades. However, if they go big game hunting, that's going to require some help. Giorgio Chiellini. Now, people who watch this channel on a regular basis know that I'm a Galaxy fan. But I have to tell you, the LAFC center back, he would be the type of guy that I would root for if I were an LAFC supporter. I like him. I do. He is entering into his 23rd year of professional soccer. Now, he doesn't play as much for LAFC as he did for, say, the Italian national team, Juventus, major players in international soccer. But if you are going to El Trafico on Saturday, take a moment and appreciate this guy, Giorgio Chiellini. If you're an LAFC guy, look, Gareth Bale last year sold a ton of jerseys, right? But Gareth Bale, throughout his entire career, the question was, does this guy actually like playing soccer? And frankly, it showed. The guy had the talent out the wazoo, but you never really saw that passion out of Gareth Bale. And it doesn't matter whether it was LAFC. It could have been his time at Tottenham Hotspur. It could have been at his time at Real Madrid. Gareth Bale didn't even start for LAFC. Meanwhile, Giorgio Chiellini, he's been around for 23 years. You can clearly tell the players love him, the coaches love him. He is a guy who realizes that he's toward the end of his career. He doesn't cause problems with his teams. He loves showing up, loves getting to work, loves his life. People gravitate towards optimism. So on some level, even if you don't like LAFC, you got to appreciate Giorgio Chiellini. Just saying. Patrick Beverley has, we mentioned, signed with the Chicago Bulls. The former Laker was traded to Orlando at the trade deadline. He says one of his goals while he's with the Bulls, is to knock the Lakers out of the playoffs, which I get it. I get it. And I still like him for it. I don't think he can do it. I don't think the Lakers are worse than the Bulls. I think the Bulls are... You thought the Lakers were in bad shape during this year. The Bulls wish they were as bad as the Lakers before those trades at the deadline. So, yeah, the Bulls are going to play the Lakers twice. Good luck knocking LeBron James out of the playoff race, dude. The Lakers may not make the playoffs, but I'm here to tell you, I really doubt it's going to be over the Chicago Bulls having an influence. But if you enjoyed this content, you let me know what you think about it in the comments thread. Let me know what you think about Dodger players going to a special program in Seattle, if it's actually going to help those 6 hitters. Let me know what you think about Russell Westbrook with the Clippers. And send me your condolences for those 2 UCLA players having to be drafted in the USFL. And if you like the content, don't forget to subscribe to Faithful Angelenos. We talk LA sports here every single day. Thank you for watching. I'm James. We'll be back tomorrow. Faithful Angelenos is a Quian Corte El Queso production. Take care.